Welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Experience with self-care expert, embodiment coach, four-time author, and your spiritual ninja guide, Christina Marlette. This is your go-to show for high-achieving, spiritually curious women who are done with burnout, over the hustle, and ready to feel fully alive and energized. You'll get a powerful mix of soulful wisdom, rebellious truth bombs, and energy practices that actually work. So now, please welcome the host of the Courageous Self-Care Experience, Christina Marlette.
Hello, I am your host, Christina Marlette, and this is the Courageous Self-Care Experience. We're streaming on Bold Brave TV along with some other platforms, and you can find replays of the show if you miss it live on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and most major streaming platforms. All right, so happy Thursday. I'm very happy to be here with you. It is springtime where I am in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and the birds have been singing. The sun has been peeking out occasionally, and warmer days are on their way. So I hope it is, something I learned that I wasn't planning on saying, but it's just coming through, is no matter what the weather is, I've learned to say, oh, how beautiful. Oh, it's raining. How beautiful. Oh, it's a blizzard. How beautiful. Oh, it's a hot day. How beautiful. And that sure feels better than complaining about the weather. I think we can't do anything about it, right? So when we can just embrace with arms wide open and accept whatever is, wow, it just feels so much better. So there's a tip that I wasn't anticipating on. All right, so we are going to go, this show always has 4 segments. So our first one is the timely teaching, where I share something that feels valuable and important and hopefully will enrich your life. My favorite thing is when people say, oh, I never thought of that before, or I hadn't thought of it in that way before, or that changed my perspective. So that's why I love to share the timely teaching. And then we'll do an embodied energy flow because, well, you don't really know it until your life fully shows it. That is what Mary Morrissey says. And I agree. And the best way to get your life to show it is embodiment, bringing it into the body. So we'll have that segment, and then we'll go into a laser coaching Q&A section. If you have a question or you like some laser coaching, you can call in during that segment. And otherwise, I always ask for questions by email, or I notice questions out and about. So I'm ready. And then we'll go into our aligned action section at the end. So here is our timely teaching for today. This is coming from my book, the Not Your Mama's Self-Care Guide. And because you probably had none, so you should read this. And this came to my awareness, many years ago, actually. So what I'm going to share about is something I call deep celebration. So I've noticed our relationship with celebrating is not stellar, usually. And we all have an innate desire, an innate ability to celebrate. And I feel like we've gone off of the path a little bit. So here's what I wanted to share. So first of all, why should we celebrate? Why is it even a thing for us human beings? And here's why. The universe vibrates as celebration. If you look around this phenomenal Earth and out beyond into the starry night sky and the galaxy, it is all celebration. The universe is a full expression of the vibration of celebration. It's like, it's just a giant yes. It's a huge acknowledgement of life. Like, just think about animals, like a rhinoceros. Why not? And I don't know, a platypus. Yes. Let's celebrate all the different ways that life can come through. And then we have the flowers. So many different kinds of flowers. And then Venus flytraps. It's just all a big giant yes. And then we have all of our insect friends who, well, I do my best to love them. I know that they are very important, but like, look at the diversity there. So the universe is a gigantic yes. That is the vibration, and it is a celebration. It's glorious. And then all the things that we can create as human beings and our diversity, it's magnificent. And so, of course, we have this desire, this impetus to celebrate. You can see it anytime you're watching sports. Everyone does the same thing. The winners, arms up in the air, full self-expression, heart wide open, reaching up towards the sky. That's how we feel. We feel expansive. And then the people who don't win often are doing the exact opposite. They're contracted, they're small, they're going within. So this is universal. It shows up in every culture, and so celebrating is important to us. And the reason that we want to celebrate is it brings us into the energy of abundance. So there's a spectrum. There are many spectrums in life. One of them is lack on one side, abundance on the other. The more we hang out in lack, that's scarcity. The more we hang out in celebration, that is abundance. And so many people I work with and here in all of the various things that I get to do, they say, I want more abundance. And here's the thing, we're living in abundance. And if you want to make it more personal, like everything around us is abundant, even our human body, trillions of cells, that is pure abundance. If we want to experience it and make it personal, celebrating is the key. So then let's talk about how celebration has evolved. So it used to be very embodied. It used to be mindful and conscious and very spiritually based. And now celebration, like when I first talked about this, I was looking for images to express celebration. And you know what they were? They were champagne. They were like expensive clothing. It was really rich food. And that was pretty much it. Maybe some confetti or fireworks or sparklers. So if that is the message that we're getting about celebrating, it, to me, indicates that we've moved more into indulgence over authentic, real, embodied celebration. And so that's when I came up with this idea for deep celebration. And in the book, I talk about this cycle, my celebration theory. So we'll just pull that up on the screen. And this is a picture from my book. So I illustrated my book myself. I'm not a fantastic illustrator, but diagrams I can do. So as you can see there at the top, we accomplish something significant. And that's where it starts off. And then we have a new energetic vibration. Our vibration increases. We expand, as evidenced by what the body wants to do when we're in a celebratory experience. And then we have a desire to celebrate that expanded energy. And often what happens is we go into overindulgence. Like we'll say, oh, let's celebrate and let's go out for a meal. And then we say, I deserve it. And so we drink a whole bottle of wine or a whole bottle of champagne, or we get things that we wouldn't normally get. And if we only go to the external for our celebration, then what happens is we go into that overindulgence often, or we might go out and buy something really expensive because we earned it. Like there is that impetus to be in that expansive energy. And then if we overdo it, so I'm not saying don't celebrate that way, definitely do it. And I think, like we talked about in the first episode of this show, we can't just only do external. We also need to do internal. Our internal world is very important. So let's say we overindulge and then maybe you don't feel so good the next day, and then you feel regretful and you feel guilty. And then that brings you back to your original vibration, because those are heavier energies. And then you feel like you're never enough. And then you go and start working on the next endeavor. So that is the cycle that we ideally want to move out of with this celebration, by bringing in an element of internal celebration as well. So here's what we can do with that. Deep celebration means going within. And it is honoring the expansive feeling and creating enough expansiveness on the inside, like increasing our capacity to hold the good. Everyone has a ceiling or a level of tolerance for how much good they can actually embody. And if we don't practice and pay attention to it, then that stays the same. And it's fascinating. Most people actually can't tolerate a whole lot of good. We know that we want more celebration, we want more love, we want more contentment and joy. And then when it shows up, it can be very short-lived if we're not doing practices to really enhance it and embody it and increase our capacity to hold the good. So with deep celebration, I've got 2 ideas for you. The first idea is I like to do this on a regular basis. So write down, make a list, maybe 5 things that you would love to celebrate about yourself. And they could be like not external things. Ideally, they are internal things. Like, what can you celebrate about yourself? Maybe you could celebrate that you have a big, loving heart. Maybe you can celebrate that you just keep showing up no matter what. Maybe you could celebrate that you're courageous. Maybe you could celebrate that you are super generous. Maybe you could celebrate that you are really kind. So these are some ideas, and this is what I recommend. You could do it now. If you've got a pen and paper or you've got your phone, you could type those in. And or you can make some time to do this. It doesn't take long. Maybe a practice you could do before bed. And just really, so initially people find this really hard because we're not used to celebrating ourselves. We're not really encouraged to do that. We're told that you'll get a big ego or you'll be too full of yourself. And so it's a muscle. If it feels uncomfortable, then I definitely recommend doing it, and do it once a week. Do this deep celebration practice. So then you have your list of 5 things. And as you practice, maybe you'll start to notice more and more. Maybe it'll grow to a list of 10 things over time or more. And then once you've got your list, put your hands on your heart and read each one and really acknowledge and allow it to sink in. When we put our hands on our heart, it increases the flow of the hormone oxytocin, which helps us feel connected and it helps us experience love. And by doing that simple, small action, that embodiment, you will increase your feelings of connection to yourself and your magnificence and your huge strength and empowerment. So that's one practice that I definitely recommend. Write down 5 things, and do write them down so that you can read them and you have evidence of them somewhere. So sometime when you're not feeling so celebratory, you can come back to your list and do this practice. So if you've got a gratitude journal or a journal, then I definitely recommend putting them there and reading it. So that's idea number 1. Idea number 2 is I love to regularly do a celebrational dance just to be in the energy of celebration, celebrating that I have a body. How brilliant and magnificent is our physical form? It's crazy. And we didn't even have to do it ourselves. It got built for us by the creative energy of life force. So that's pretty cool. So you could just dance and celebrate how good it feels to move in your body. You could also celebrate the things on your list, or you could celebrate when something wonderful happens. So these are internal celebration practices to really honor what you've become and who you are and all the things that you've been through. And especially if the mind says, well, there's nothing to celebrate here. That's really important that you do it, because everything that you want comes through celebration and self-acknowledgement. So that is how we do deep celebration, and that's how we get into alignment with the energy of the universe. If you are wanting to be better at manifesting, celebrating more is the key. And then my other practice, I do have one other practice I want to share with you that's free, it's fast, it's super effective, and it's really easy. Do you want to know it? I call it the Yay Me. And I do this as much as possible throughout the day. It all started when I saw a magnet that I bought that says "Yay Me," and I didn't really know what it was or what it meant, but a whole practice emerged from it. So I yay me all throughout the day, for big things, for little things. When I accomplish something, I say, "Yay me!" And I throw my arms in the air, or I give myself a pat on the back, or I put my hands on my heart, or I give a little fist pump. Yay me! And again, if there's a part of you that thinks, oh, I could never do that, or that's dumb, then it is definitely important to do the yay me. And it brings us into that energy of celebration in such a fun way. So it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be a big thing. A yay me can be, yay me, I got out of bed. I do that in the morning. I conquered the day. Woohoo, did it. Or yay me, I did my gratitude practice. Or yay me, I washed a dish. So it can be simple. It can be the tiniest thing. The more you acknowledge the tiny things, the more they grow into gigantic things. Like, yay me, I did my sun salutations today. And I've done that every day for years now. And so that's something I definitely recommend is the yay me, and also definitely yay me for the big stuff. Like yesterday, I had a big yay me. I finished listening to 2 courses to enhance the healing practice that I do. And that was a big yay me because it took a lot to figure out when to listen to it and to go through it and to practice. So that got a big yay me. So I encourage you to, well, let's just do it together. And if you're in a public place, then do a little one. If you're in a private place, then do a big one with me. So think of something that you can yay me about, like, yay me, you're listening to this. You're learning things, hopefully. Or maybe, yay me, you got out of bed this morning. Or maybe, yay me, you, I don't know, brushed your teeth. Everything deserves acknowledgement and celebration. So let's do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay me! Excellent. So I just have this vision of people yay meing all over the world and us being so connected. Like imagine if everyone yay me'd throughout the day, the world would be so different and so celebratory, and we'd all be manifesting our heart's desires. All right, so that is what I wanted to share with you for our timely teaching, and we're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with Embodied Energy Flow. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. Here we are on the Courageous Self-Care Experience, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Mike Zorek, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. This is the Courageous Self Experience streaming on Bold Brave TV. All right, so we're moving into our second portion here, the embodied energy flow section of the program. And I think it's so important to get into the body and to get moving and to bring all of the big energy of what we want into the body. That's how we feel better. So this is part 3. Over the last 3 shows, I've been sharing with you my affirmative stretching practice. I do it every day, and it takes affirmations, which are powerful for the mind, but boy, do they take a long time to get into the body if we're not being active and being mindful about it and intentional. So we take affirmations, and then I add movements to enhance those affirmations to really help the ideas come deeply into the subconscious so that you radiate them out, and then more of that comes back to you. That's how it works. With embodiment, we're making space at an atomic level for more of what we want inside the physical body. So this is part 3. In the first part, a couple of weeks ago or 2 episodes ago, we did part 1, which was about being human and embodying divine masculine and divine feminine energy. Last week, we did making a better relationship with time by embracing the past and looking forward to the future and then being present. And today, I don't know if it has a particular theme like the first 2 parts, but it's working with, working with the mind and then our consciousness. So the first part, I invite you to stand up if you can and do this with me. You can also do it seated. If there is a reason that you can't actually stand, it'll still work if you're doing it seated. But I do invite you to follow along, because why not? We all want our lives to get better, and then we need to take action for that. And so here we're going to embody that energy flow that is always trying to flow through us. We're going to make it more accessible and easy for that energy to come through. All right. So if you're standing, just feet underneath your hips, and make sure you've got enough space around you. Yep, I do. I'm not going to hit anything. So we're going to take our hands and make kind of scissors. So left hand comes up and right hand comes back behind you, and then we switch. And what I like to say here is, so it's kind of like a cutting action, and it's a good shoulder stretch. It's opening up the heart. And my affirmation is, I detach from ruminating thoughts. So let's do 3 of those affirmations, and in between each one, I take a nice big breath. So you can say it out loud, you can say it in your head. I detach from ruminating thoughts. Let's do it again. I detach from ruminating thoughts. I like to think of my arms slicing through any thoughts that are ruminating. And once more, I detach from ruminating thoughts. Okay, and then you can relax, and I'll just share a little bit about why we would do that. So the mind has an incredible ability to laser focus. And often what it laser focuses on are issues and problems. Actually, it creates the problems in the first place so that it can try to solve the problems and show you that it's being useful. The mind is meant to be a humble servant. It just hasn't quite figured out the best way to serve us. And so it thinks that by ruminating and overthinking and planning and strategizing and pros and cons, that's how it's best of service. And that's what we're taught. So no wonder it thinks that. But that's not really the best use of the mind. The best use of the mind is, I'm going to talk about it a few shows from now, got a plan, but it's to come into the body and focus on moving energy and breath through the body. It's the ultimate use of the mind. So we're working with that here. And whenever you notice that you have ruminating thoughts, we want to detach from them. We want to just observe that the mind is doing that, but we don't have to believe the thoughts, because rarely are they true. And if they are ever thoughts that make you feel bad about yourself, well, 100% of the time, that's not true. That's just your ego doing its old thing, an old pattern, an old habit. And that's why we want to detach from ruminating thoughts. So by doing this with our upper bodies and making the scissor action, we are helping to remind the mind, you are not in charge here. you get to just take it easy. We don't need to go into those thoughts and go down the rabbit hole. So I like to do that every day to remind myself to detach from ruminating thoughts. And ever since I started doing this affirmative stretching practice quite a few years ago, I've been so much better at just noticing the mind rather than falling into believing that those ruminating thoughts are true. So that's part one. All right, now the next one is a stretch. So you're going to take your left arm, cross it across your body towards the right shoulder, and then bring your other arm up to pull the left arm in towards you. And then you should feel a beautiful stretch in the left shoulder. So this is a common stretch. We see athletes do it all the time. And it just feels so good. So again, we're opening up the left shoulder. We're opening up the backside of the heart center. And the affirmation for this one is, it feels good to stretch. And then we take a deep breath. So say that either out loud or in your head. It feels good to stretch. And another one like that. It feels good to stretch. And once more. It feels good to stretch. And then let that one go. Shake out the shoulders a little bit. And then let's do it on the other side. So cross your right arm in front. And bring up your other arm, bent elbow, pulling the stretch of the right shoulder. I'm trying to describe it if you're listening on a podcast and can't see me, or you could always come over to Bold Brave TV on YouTube and see what I'm doing. So let's do it on this side. This one we get to say 6 times because 3 times on each side. So it feels good to stretch. And really feel that on the inside. It feels good to stretch. And once more, it feels good to stretch. And then release that, shake it out. Okay, here's the explanation for that one. So we have 2 parts to us. We have the heart / the soul, and that part always wants to expand. That is who we are. We show up here to grow and expand. That is our ultimate purpose here in our time as human beings. We're here to grow and expand because that's what the universe is always doing. The universe is always growing and expanding, and we're part of the universe. So there we go. Everything is all about expansion. So the heart and the soul, totally on board with that. Now the mind, the ego part of the mind, the great trickster, the ego, it is not into growing and expanding. It is about everything needs to stay the same. Because the same is familiar. The unknown is terrifying, but familiar is good enough. And it might not be good at all, but the mind, the ego part of the mind just says, well, at least we know what to expect. So with the stretch here, the affirmation, we're telling the mind, we're reminding the mind, it feels good to stretch. And we can actually program the mind and the subconscious in the best way possible to feel more open to that growth and expansion. And when we do it by design, like we're in that stretch and we notice it does feel good to stretch, the mind can gradually come on board and the ego can turn from an inner critic who's terrified of the unknown to an inner cheerleader. That's what's happened in my mind. I used to have a very intense inner critic, and now it's turned into an encouraging, supportive aspect of who I am, and it will encourage me to do things that are unknown because now it knows that it does feel good to stretch overall. Even the ego, once it gets used to the new situation, is on board with the expansion. So we can bring it into the ability to serve us in this new way. And so that's why every day I love to remind myself and that lovely part of the mind that might prefer things to stay the same, that it does feel good to stretch. So that's part 2. Okay, part 3 for today is we're going quantum again. That seems to come into every conversation that I have because the quantum field, quantum science, it is all so fascinating. And so here is the background for this. I'll explain it first and then we'll do it. So the idea is that perhaps you've heard of unity consciousness, that we are all one and that we are individuations of this vast experience, this vast energy that ultimately is love. So you could imagine it like there's this huge tapestry, and every human being is a thread in that tapestry. So we are all interwoven. The tapestry wouldn't be the same without your thread. We're all connected, and we're making up something that is beautiful and valuable and important, and it's an expression of creativity. So that is the unified field. The unified field is everything. It's all of it. It is that tapestry. And so I like to be reminded of this every day, because then it makes anything that shows up, that could be, a moment of reaction, or something is triggering, or there are big emotions. I just like to rest in the reminder that we are the unified field. I am the unified field, and so are you. And so I like to bring this into a stretch. So bring your right arm up overhead, and then with your left hand, take the hold of the wrist and pull up and over. So we've got a little bit of a side bend happening. And from here, I like to declare, I am the unified field, and take a big breath in and feel the stretch, especially down the right side body, and then exhale. And another one like that. I am the unified field. Feel your feet connected with the earth. And then notice how you're taking up so much space with this stretch. I am the unified field. So it is okay to take up space. All these things are embedded. And then let's switch to the other side. So now left arm stretches up and overhead. We've got a bit of a side bend towards the right. Take hold of your wrist with the right hand, holding onto the left wrist, and then pull up and over, feeling the stretch up the whole left side. Again, we're opening up the heart center. And let's make our declarations here. I am the unified field. Big breath in and exhale. And another one. I am the unified field. And once more, I am the unified field. And notice just what you feel. Release that. Just tune into your vastness. We are big, brilliant, magnificent beings. We are that tapestry. We are that unified field. And it's so valuable to bring that into the body as awareness. So then I invite you to close your eyes and take another big breath in. Notice how you feel on the inside after this affirmative stretching, and exhale through the mouth. Yeah, just come inside for a moment, maybe eyes closed, and notice what you notice. Okay, so that is our embodied energy flow. We're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors, and then we'll come back with some coaching, Q&A time. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. You're watching the Courageous Self-Care Experience on Bold, Brave TV. We'll be right back.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth, and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. This is the Courageous Self-Care Experience, streaming on Bold Brave TV. Okay, so we're moving into our Q&A and laser coaching section here. And I was out and about earlier this week, and I was chatting with a woman who I'd kind of just met. And she said that she told me that her hip hurt and she didn't know why. And then she also said, and I've got a frozen shoulder because I'm getting old. And I thought, oh gosh, I so would love to chat with you about that, but she wasn't asking for any coaching or advice. So I thought, I'm going to share that on my show. I think that is so valuable to dive into because she doesn't have to suffer. And I always have solutions. So let's talk about why stuff shows up in our body. So she was saying, I don't know why my hip hurts. And I just wanted to say, I do, I can tell you. And then the comment about getting older and having a frozen shoulder. So here's thing number one. Whenever we have an issue in the body, whether it's pain, whether it's dis-ease, whether it is a chronic issue, it only ever comes from one thing only, and that is energy is stuck. And that's it. It's trying to show us. So we have our physical body, and then we also have an invisible anatomy around us. And it's trying to show us that there is energy stuck often in we've got mental energy. So that ruminating and overthinking, things can get really stuck there, holding grudges, judging, critical thoughts, that's stuck energy in the mental body. We also have an emotional body, and energy can get stuck there. In fact, there was a study done, I believe it was from the Mayo Clinic a few years ago, and it said 99% of any issue in the body comes from buried, suppressed emotions. And I would say, well, 100%. So that's my own view on it. And the teachers I've studied with share that view. And so we have energy that's stuck in the emotional body, and it gets stuck by suppressing it or not knowing what to do with it. It can be unfamiliar energy. It can be uncomfortable to feel these emotions. And especially as a little kid, so much gets locked down and shut down in the subconscious, and it's stuck energy. And so if we don't ever know what to do with it, and we don't do anything about it, over time, the body wants to let us know, hey, you've got stuck energy. Maybe now's a good time to get it flowing again. And if we don't know what to do with it, or we do know what to do with it, but we just don't do it, then it stays stuck. So any issue in the body, only just stuck energy. And hips, so common, because the hips are, a lot of stress can go into the hips. They are the energy of fight or flight. So in the days of yore, when we had to defend ourselves from, wild beasts and animals, if there was a threat, the body gets ready for flight or fight, and the hips clamp down. They get ready. And then we would, flee. And the energy would have somewhere to go because we were being physical with it, and it would move through. But now, like if you get an aggressive email, you're not running away from it. If you have an argument with someone over text, there's no fleeing. And so the hips clamp down, but the energy has nowhere to go. And so it doesn't move through, it gets stuck. And then it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And then the body has to let us know, hey, stuck energy here. And I'm just trying to get your attention. So pain, it's never against us. I had a 3-in-1 therapist I worked with for several years. And 3-in-1 therapy is where you unify both hemispheres of the brain to create a super brain, hence the 3-in-1. You've got the left side, you've got the right side, and then you've got the whole consciousness when they are unified and working harmoniously. And she shared with me something that just blew my mind. She said, your body is never against you. It's always for you. It's always for your healing. And it's always for your spiritual healing. She didn't say that. I added that on. So whenever we have something going on in the body, it is not a problem. It is the body saying, getting your attention. There is an opportunity for an upgrade here. Spiritual healing or emotional healing or mental healing, all of the healing. It is ready. It's getting revealed to be healed. So that is a different way of looking at things, I think. And the way to heal is to unify mind, body, and breath simultaneously. That is the gateway to healing. And there are 3 powerful ways that I know to do that. And I do all of them because they make a huge difference. And I just heal as a happy byproduct of doing this unification of mind, body, and breath. So the first way that I know to do that is to do conscious breathing. And I'm going to share about that in a few shows after we finish our affirmative stretching. The affirmative stretching is a version of conscious breathing because we are bringing mind, body, and breath all into the mix. So yeah, conscious breathing. And that can be, there's 2 kinds of conscious breathing. There's one way that is everyday breathing that you can do no matter what you're doing. And like you're driving, you can do conscious breathing. You're listening to someone talk, you can do conscious breathing, and that's coming up in just a few shows, so I'm excited to share that with you. And then the other kind of conscious breathing is activated somatic breath work, and I'm so passionate about that. I became a 9D breathwork certified in 9D breathwork, where there are journeys that honor different parts of us, and we unify mind, body, and breath and clear that stuck energy. Super powerful. I always have those available on my website. I'm always doing, every month I do several journeys. So you can go to ChristinaMarlette.com if you're interested in getting stuck energy moving that way. And I had someone at a live journey a couple months ago. She said, I feel like I'm cheating at life. Like I just come here and do this breathing once in a while and everything gets better. So it's super powerful. So that's way number 1, to unify mind, body, and breath. Second way is this specific kind of yoga that I just had to get certified in. It's called Body Awake Yoga. And the whole point of it is unifying mind, body, and breath. And it's different from other kinds of yoga that I'd ever experienced because the breath moves through the body and the mind is onto that. So again, that's the best way you can use the mind is to follow the breath through the body. So that's Body Awake Yoga. I also do that. I offer online classes, so that's available on my website too, if you're curious. And then the third way to unify mind, body, and breath is this healing practice, this healing technique I learned called bioenergetic synchronization technique. It's called BEST. And there's BEST and there's spiritual BEST. And it is, wow, it is revolutionary. It just totally changes everything. It heals physical issues in often just a few sessions. It heals emotional. It is getting stuck energy moving. So again, that's available if you're interested. More info on my website. Okay, so I wanted to share all of that with this lady who was telling me about her painful hip. And I did actually say, I do this healing and I can do it remotely. And she just got this look of like, who are you and what are you doing? She kind of ran away. So I guess she wasn't really interested at this point in any of that. But that was one thing. And then the other thing, she shared that she had a frozen shoulder because she's getting old. And I just wanted to say, oh, you know what? Your words are so powerful and you can have what you say. And so if you continue to declare something like life gets worse as I get older, it's going to be true. It's like you're waving a magic wand that makes it your truth. And it's evidence of a belief that is running the show from the subconscious. And when you actually notice, like you say things, you can figure out what your beliefs are, and then we can shift them. So we can shift them with affirmative stretching, like I showed you before. We can shift them with any of the three things I just shared with you. We shift them by unifying mind, body, and breath, and by not seeing them as a problem, but choosing. We get to choose. We are the creator of our lives. We are so powerful. And so, yeah, if she was a client of mine, I would say maybe you'd like to have a different intention or affirmation about getting older. We don't, like, if you believe that things are going to deteriorate and decline as you get older, guess what? Your words are powerful and you can have what you say. So that is what will happen. But you get to choose. So what if you chose a different outlook on getting older? Like, I remember when I was in my 20s, Oprah was on and she said, every decade gets better. And I thought, yes, that's for me. I'm choosing that too. Every decade gets better. And I just locked that in. And that's been the truth. And so it could be something like that, or it could be, I always have abundant, flowing, beautiful energy, or I am a self-healing, self-aware being of magnificence. Anything like that. Like, choose words that make you feel good and that are what you want to happen rather than what you don't want to happen. That is my recommendation around that. So the takeaway is, remember, your words are powerful and you can have what you say. And so you might as well choose wisely and ensure that what you are saying, both in your conscious mind and your subconscious, is working for you towards what you would actually like rather than working against you. So that is my tips and advice and self-care, courageous self-care strategies and approach for aging gracefully and dealing with anything that is stuck in your system. All right, so that wraps up this portion. We are going to take a brief break for a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with the aligned action. So my name is Christina Marlette. I'm your host. This is a courageous self-care experience on Bold Brave TV, and we'll be right back.
Mike Zoric, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zoric, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zoric has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. This is the Courageous Self-Care Experience, and I'm your host, Christina Marlette. We're streaming live, did I say that right? On Bold Brave TV. All right, so we are coming into the final moments of this week's show, and this is where we take some time to get into aligned action. The reason alignment is so important is because, well, it's everything. If you're feeling aligned, you are in the flow. You are in divine flow. You are embodying what's important to you. You're in alignment with your values. You are connected with the next amazing version of who you're becoming. And being aligned means being centered. It means being grounded. It means being expanded. All of that simultaneously. So aligned is a big word, and it is powerful. And it's a valuable declaration to have, or affirmation. So every day I do work with that intention that I am aligned. And I check in with myself every day and I ask myself, okay, like in the morning before I get out of bed, I go back to yesterday and I ask myself, where were the moments where I was aligned? The more and more of those moments there are. And then I ask myself, were there any moments where I was out of alignment? And I'm keeping that in mind for how I proceed through the day today. And we want to take aligned action. Aligned action means not just doing busy work. It means we're on target. We're headed into the next vibration of what we've identified, what we want more of. And so that's why I felt like it was valuable to have a portion of the show called Aligned Action so that we can take aligned action. And I used to be a teacher. And so I know how to and love designing experiences that are beneficial and valuable. And so this show has a context, like there's homework, your aligned action. And when you can take that in between, you will be more and more on target and life will get better and better. So that's why we have our aligned action portion. And our aligned action for this week is based on what we covered. So the first aligned action that I would recommend is partaking in some deep celebration, like we talked about in the first segment during the timely teaching. Deep celebration can be one of three things. Maybe you experiment with them. Maybe you do all three. Maybe you choose one or two. So aligned action number one is to get into alignment with the energy of the universe, which is celebration. And when you celebrate, the more you celebrate, the easier things that you want will come to you and life will just feel so much better. So action number one, or option number one, is to make a list. I would say every day, 5 things, maybe first thing in the morning or before you go to bed, 5 things that you are celebrating about yourself, qualities, values, how you show up, and write them down. And then read over your list with your hands on your heart and feel the feelings of you acknowledging. Like, it feels so good when someone else recognizes that in us. It feels just as good, if not better, when you recognize yourself, because you don't have to be dependent on the outer world. You can create for yourself what you want in your inner world. And then guess what? The more you acknowledge that in yourself, the more other people will notice it and the more good will come to you. And that's just icing on the cake because you've already filled yourself up. We don't need other people to tell us how great we are. We need to tell ourselves how great we are and acknowledge how we're showing up. And then it will be in that energy of celebration. So that's option number one. Option number two is to do at least once, put on a favorite song and dance, just to celebrate that you are alive, to celebrate the joy of being, to celebrate all the magnificent aspects of yourself. And so that's option two. I'd recommend doing that at least once, maybe every day. And then option three is the yay me. And I definitely recommend doing this regularly, as often as you can, every day between now and next week, because the yay me is fun and it's free and it's easy and it totally changes your state and it really changes everything. So that is aligned action in terms of deep celebration, internal, and make it feel fantastic. The more you can embody this deep celebration, like I said, the better life gets, and it's not hard. It just takes an awareness around that. So I would also recommend, writing this down and putting it on a Post-it note or put a reminder on your phone or put an alarm on your phone. It's celebration time. And we can use our phones as great tools to enhance our growth. Okay, aligned action number two is affirmative stretching. So I detach from ruminating thoughts, the first one, and then it feels good to stretch on each side, 3 of those. And then the last one was I am the unified field, connecting with our greatness. And finally, if you haven't done so already, if you're new here or haven't taken aligned action on it, I have a great resource on my website called the Daily Self-Care Checklist. And it's big ideas. It's not, it's a teaching. So I definitely recommend accessing that. It's not just a little checklist. It's like a little mini ebook that has ideas on how to incorporate courageous self-care, internal self-care into your daily practice. And when we do practice courageous self-care, my intention and what I've noticed and what my clients experience is that we do feel more expansive. We start to radiate more of what we actually want. And so things flow to us more easily in our lives. Like things just fall into my lap all the time. Great things. And it's way less effort than I used to put in. I used to over try and over effort and over all the things, overthink. And now with courageous self-care, all that overing has wound down and it just has become so much more easeful. Access that courageous or that daily self-care checklists on the website, ChristinaMarlette.com, and start to incorporate what you learn there. All right, that brings us to the end of our time here today. It has been a joy and a pleasure to share what works with you, and I look forward to being with you again next week. My intention always for us is to experience expansive energy, to feel fully alive, and to get some great new ideas on specific strategies we can implement to feel better and better. So this has been the Courageous Self-Care Experience on Bold Brave TV. I'm grateful to have spent this time with you. My name is Christina Marlette. I look forward to being with you again next week. Have a sensational rest of your day. Bye for now.
This has been the Courageous Self-Care Experience with host Christina Marlette. Tune in each week as Christina will offer up live laser coaching where her compassionate reframes help you see the bigger picture, shift your perspective, and return to inner peace, no matter what's going on. You'll leave with a weekly aligned action to get your energy flowing and your life glowing. Thursdays, 12 noon Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.